Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today, I have a really special guest. I've been wanting to interview Jonathan Buckley for a long time. Jonathan Buckley, we have been friends for about, what, 2.5 years, would you say, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Yeah, him and we actually met at Deering Acting Studio. Anyway, Jonathan is such an awesome person, and there's a lot of questions I want to ask him, so we're just going to jump right into it. Alrighty? So, Jonathan, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself. Like I told everyone, I know you're an actor, but what are some of your hobbies? What do you like to do for fun?
Well, I love, pre-pandemic, I loved going to movies and just doing all kinds of stuff related to that. But post-pandemic, I just love playing video games, watching sports, any kind of sports, basketball, football, except for hockey. For some reason, I've never gotten into that.
No hockey. That's so funny, though, Jonathan. I love how you said pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, because that's so true. Like now with COVID and everything, that's how we're going to have to talk about our life. Like, oh, all the things we used to be able to do versus all the things we can do now. So I really loved how you said that.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But I did see, I think the movies are going to open back up soon. I think I did see like movies coming to the theater. I don't know if you...
It's just going to be interesting because you can't really social distance in a movie theater.
True. They'll have to do like every other chair or something. Sweet,
Or
John.
limit the capacity.
Yes, yes. Awesome. Okay, so my next question for you, Jonathan, is what made you start acting? How did you get into acting?
Well, that's a very interesting story. I actually really wanted to be a singer my whole entire life. So I initially started out in high school in the choir because I really wanted to be a singer and was really working towards that. And then, of course, voice change happened, and my voice never actually settled. So it just sounded not too great. And I'm like, oh, I can't do that anymore. Shoot. But I still wanted to be in the entertainment industry so bad. So I was like, how am I going to do this? So I found out they had a theater where they did a whole bunch of plays and all that. So I went there and I was like, maybe I'll like this, maybe I'll enjoy it. And it's still in entertainment. So hopefully I do. And I ended up loving it.
Awesome. Isn't that funny though? You hear that a lot with people that were dancers or singers. I think you were just naturally born to entertain then, Jonathan. Like you've always loved performing. So it's really cool that you found acting through that.
And not only that, but like a year after that, I made a movie, a short film.
Oh, yes. Yes. And I still want to see that, Jonathan.
About my life in a chair. And it ended up winning first place audience pick at their film festival.
Wow. That is amazing.
And second place for the judges. So I was hugely proud of that.
Very cool.
And
Well,
they're still actually using it today for training people because they had their peer partners for other people with disabilities. So they're using it as a training video, which I think is very cool.
I did not know that. That's really cool, Jonathan. Wow. Yeah, if you ever find the link or anything, you'll have to send me that because I really do want to watch that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
You'll see it.
So, Jonathan, that's perfect that you said that because that leads into my next question I was going to ask you. So, those of you guys that realize or didn't realize Jonathan is in a chair, right? He kind of mentioned that. So, basically, Jonathan, I know you were born in a chair. Well, I'm sorry, you weren't born in a chair. I know you just told me you weren't always in a chair. But can you tell everyone a little bit about your situation and why are you sitting in a chair right now?
Well, sure. I got my first chair when I was 4 years old. And I'm actually, what I have is cerebral palsy, but they call me a spastic quad because mine is in all four limbs. So it's in my arms, in my legs, all that. So pretty much, I can't walk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But everything else works. My intelligence, everything, my speech, all of that is intact. So I got very, very lucky.
Okay. And I know before when we had talked, did you say some things though it's hard for you to do like math, the way that your brain is? Sometimes like math problems or reading sometimes is difficult too?
Yeah, I can't process. So
Okay.
I did a math problem. I could do the first two steps, but if you added like a third, fourth step, I would be gone. So
Okay, gotcha. So it's called cerebral palsy, and you said you were premature. When were you born again, Jonathan? I don't remember.
I was 10 weeks premature.
10 weeks premature. Okay, and you were really small, and you could be held
Yeah,
in your hand. That's how tiny you were.
2 pounds, 14 ounces, actually.
2 pounds, 14 ounces. Wow. Okay, and through that, that's why you ended up in a chair.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So my next question for you, Jonathan, is what type of things can you do on your own? So like maybe day-to-day things, what can you do on your own? And what are the biggest things that you need help with?
Well, on my own, I can manipulate my phone. Obviously, I can manipulate my chair and a whole bunch of other things. Video games, remote control.
Okay. So can you explain, Jonathan, how your chair works a little bit? Like how the controls on your chair?
Yeah, it's basically like if you ever seen one of those old video game controllers to where they have a stick. It's basically like that.
Okay. So you can, like, if you want to go forward, you just move it forward, back,
Yeah.
side to side.
Yeah.
Okay. And how fast do they go, by the way? I'm just curious.
Well, this one goes 7 miles an hour. My previous one before this one went 8.5. I missed that.
Oh, yeah. You like to speed around and everything. Yeah. Very cool. I can't imagine, Jonathan, if there was no chairs and no technology, it would be really difficult. Like, I was just thinking about that. Have you ever thought about that? Like, wow, I'm really blessed to be in a chair. Because imagine if there wasn't a chair.
Well, I am really blessed. And this one not only has just the regular standard control, but it has an elevator. So like tall tables that you see in restaurants, I can get to those, and a whole bunch of other things. I can move my foot plates up and down, all those things. So
and then I've seen your van too, Jonathan. It's easy to get into the van, right? To go on car rides and everything.
I have like a bolt under my chair that locks into the mechanism in my car. So.
Oh, very cool. Awesome. Very cool, Jonathan. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next question. So Jonathan, was it hard when you were a child to realize that you couldn't do some of the things that your friends were doing, like in school, maybe during recess or whatnot? Did you ever struggle with that mentally? If it, like, obviously you had your physical limits, but was it hard for you mentally?
Well, no, because my parents actually raised me to where it didn't matter. It would just be, I would just have to do it in a different way. I'd have to do it in my way instead of the way they were doing it. So they never let me feel like, oh, you can't do this because you're in a chair. I can do it in my way. I can't do it in your way. But I would still participate in recess and field day and a whole bunch of other things. So,
Jonathan, you kept saying I could do it my way. Was it hard to figure out what your way was? Do you know what I mean? Like did you have to do trial and error pretty much to figure that stuff out?
Yeah. I mean, some of it didn't work perfectly, but it still worked to where I felt like I was doing it.
Okay. So it's kind of like, the kid, if you're running outside, you fall down, it's going to hurt, but you just get back up, right? Same for you. It's like, oh, okay, so I can't really do that, but that's okay. I'll try it this way type thing.
Yeah. And at times I thought my way was better.
Did your parents give you ideas on how to try things too? Like, hey, Jonathan, try to do it this way. Did they help you a lot with that?
Yeah.
As well?
Yeah, especially my mom, because she was like, okay, he can't do it, but what can we do to make it as possible as we can? Just doing it his way and not doing it exactly in the way that they're doing it.
That's awesome. So yeah.
And I think it actually made the kids around me feel good too, because they were like, well, he's doing it. He may not be doing it in the way I am, but he's still doing it.
That is so true. So yeah, the kids probably looked up to you. They're like, okay, come on. I don't really have an excuse. I can do whatever we're doing, and not be lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Let's see, Jonathan. Next question I have for you is, you have an extremely positive outlook on your situation. So you have even told me before, like, walking is overrated. Everybody's doing it. You know, you kind of joked about that. But I think
Yeah.
you were honestly a little serious. And I was like, wow, that is such a positive mindset. How did you form that mindset? Because I'm sure that wasn't easy to do.
That answer is twofold. First of all, I was like one one day a couple years back, I was like, well, sometimes I even forget that I'm in a chair. Like I can see a TV show and want to be that actor, and I'll be like, well, I could do this and I could do that, but then remember, oh wait, I'm in a chair.
Yeah.
I sometimes really truly forget.
Yeah, I think that's cool because you don't look at yourself as any different then. And it starts with within, you know, if you can love yourself and you're comfortable within yourself, like it would be bad if you were always kind of insecure about your disability, but you like own your disability. You know, Jonathan, you're like at the acting studio, if they say, okay, everybody grab a seat, you're like, I'm already in a seat. You know, you make
Yeah.
jokes and I think that's so cool you can do that.
But the other part of the answer is obviously my faith is a
Mm,
huge part of my life.
yeah.
Without that, I think even with the mindset that I just told you about, it would be drastically like depressing because I'd just be like, yeah, I can think that way, but without God, it
Yeah.
doesn't work. It doesn't jive.
That is so true. So you basically believe that the situation you were given, you're going to show people's, you know, you're going to show God through your situation, even though it's difficult at times. You're going to use what you're given, and you're going to show God's love, right,
Yeah,
Jonathan?
yeah.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I love that. Okay, next question. This kind of goes with what we were talking about, but you and me, Jonathan, we're about the same age, 26, 27. And I know we were the other day, or what was it, a couple weeks ago probably, we were joking about how it seems like everybody our age is like getting married, having kids. Does that ever come to your mind? Do you ever want, you know, to be married, to have kids? Do you ever think that your situation can stop you from that? What do you think about relationships? I know it's kind of a personal question, but
I mean, of course, at times you think that way, and I think that way, and I'm like, dang, I wish I was doing this, or I wish I could have that, or maybe I know that without the chair, I would be dating someone or married to someone without having any hesitation of, oh, they have to do this for me, oh, they have to do that for me. But
mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I don't think about it that much to where I'm like, it constantly is in the frame of my mind. It just means I'm going to have to do something different for right now, and it's not going to be what the standard is. It's not going
Yeah.
to be.
Can I ask you though, Jonathan, is it on your heart? Has God put it on your heart someday that you do want to be married and you do want a wife? Is that on your heart? Is that something you?
Oh, it's definitely on my heart.
Okay.
Definitely is. But in my situation, I unlike most situations, I know that I seriously do need the right one. I
Mhm.
can't just date to date. I
Yeah.
need somebody that's going to be the right one.
Yeah.
So
No, that's so true because you hear that all the time, like, oh, how am I going to find the right one? But for you, it's like, no, you need the right one because some things are more difficult for you to do. So at least you know, Jonathan, that somebody will truly love you for you, you know. I think if you truly see an individual for themselves, then you can deal with what can say the small things in life, you know, the
yeah,
small things that are holding you back.
yeah.
Yeah.
So can't just date to date, but
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the right one, which I haven't found yet.
Okay. I mean, you could date to date, but I know that's not what you would want to do, Jonathan. All right. My next question. So we kind of mentioned this. We talked about God's love a little bit, Jonathan. I know you're a religious person like me. And then do you want to go into a little more how you're using your situation to show God's love? I know we talked about it a little bit, but is there anything else that you'd like to mention about it?
Well, not too much. I mean, I just really want to impact people, really want to touch people, and I know in this situation that it can be something that can really happen. And I want to show people, whether they're in chairs or not, that if you work hard enough, you can still achieve your dream.
Yeah.
And how you treat people is important, obviously.
Yeah, no, definitely. That is so true. So, yeah, thank you, Jonathan. Let's see. I'm moving through these pretty quickly here. The next question. Oh, this is a good question. We talked about this before. How have people treated you differently because you're in your chair? Like, what are some things that people do that you wish they wouldn't? Because for people watching this, this could be really helpful, you know, because there's people with disabilities in chairs, and I don't know why, but right, they're always treated different. So, what do you think about that, Jonathan?
Well, one thing that I wish people wouldn't do would be not talking to me, but talking to my parents, expecting them to answer for me because they just assume that I can't talk or think for myself.
Yeah, that's a big one. So basically, like, let's say you're out, you know, doing whatever you guys are doing. So people will maybe ask your mom or dad a question. Can you think of a certain example of something that has happened? I'm just curious. Like
Well,
what?
they have like a conversation. They ask how old I am,
Mm-hmm.
um, what's my name,
Oh, just basic stuff. Okay, I see.
basic stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I wish you would look at me and just try it to see if I actually will respond to you instead of just assuming, oh well, he's in a chair, he can't.
Yeah. So, Jonathan, what would be your biggest piece of advice to give people watching that maybe don't know? Like, do you think that people, if they see somebody in a chair, try to talk to them first, right? And don't just assume. What
Yeah,
what would you tell people?
yeah. Try to talk to them first. Don't stereotype them because I know with everything there is a stereotype, and
Mm-hmm.
like they can't do this, or
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of people that can't do this, so I assume that everybody in that situation or situations like it is like this.
I see. So, yeah, in general, we shouldn't assume things. Why do you think people don't talk directly to you, Jonathan, when they see you? What do you think stops them from coming up to you and just like we're talking, be like, hey, what's your name? Like, why don't you think people do that?
Maybe fear, lack of knowledge,
Okay.
or just not wanting to take the time, just really just wanting to be like, hey, I want to know these things, but I don't want to take the time with him. And but I see you, and you're exactly like me. You can walk like me. You can talk like me. So I'm just gonna ask you because you're his parent, or
Yeah.
you're his sister, or you're his whatever. So
Yeah. No, that's such a good point. I really like what you said. I think that's it, Jonathan. I think just the lack of knowledge about the situation, not wanting to offend anybody. So they would rather just, oh, okay, you're walking like me. So I'm going to ask you. And that's not cool. Like, we shouldn't do that. So, you know, I've learned a lot from you. It's like, yeah, why not just ask you? You're right there, right in front of me.
yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you, Jonathan, for clarifying that. And then my final question for you, Jonathan, as we're talking about, you're so inspirational, like with your story, your whole story, you know, how you were born, just everything about you, you're going to inspire so many people. What are your plans for the future? And what do you hope to do to keep inspiring people in such a way that you do? So how do you want to inspire people in the future?
Well, it just goes back to the way you interact with people and just talk to them and just interact with them and have conversations with them. But it also goes back to I really want to do acting because the main reason I want to do acting is just show God's love, and you can impact so many people because so many people watch movies, so many people watch TV shows, and I think we are missing an opportunity right now. We're just entertaining people or making money, those are great things, don't get me wrong, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not the only thing. And they're not the only thing that we should be showing or teaching, because a lot of people are like, hey, this movie really impacted me. Well, why did it impact you? And then they don't have an answer, and then they forget, oh, that movie was really good and impacted me in this way. But 5 seconds after they go home, they're like, ugh, I forgot
So you want to really leave an imprint mainly through your acting. And so, Jonathan, as you were saying that, I was thinking, what films do you hope to be in then? Specifically, do you want it, because I know you're very religious, do you want to be in Christian films? What kind of roles do you really want to do? What's on your heart for acting?
Well, all of those. Like I would love to be in Christian films. I'd also love to be in action films. I would also love to be in comedies. I'd also love to be in dramas. It doesn't matter. I love to do TV shows, especially some of my favorite TV shows, just representing the disabled and showing them that, oh, I'm going to give up on this because it's too hard, or nobody in my situation is doing this.
Yeah. Wow, that is so true. So basically, the sky's the limit. Like, you can do anything. You can do the action. You can do an action movie with The Rock. You know, just because you're in a chair, you're still going to do it. You can still do it.
Yeah. And right now, people aren't seeing that. So even if they're in my situation, acting right now, just going to an acting class like I am, or doing something, they're like, well, this is the best I can do. Because nobody's going to give me a chance. Nobody's going to give me an opportunity. And I'm just as talented as that person.
Yeah, definitely. So you want to break past those barriers, basically, and just use your talents and say, hey, I'm in a chair, so what? Forget about that. Now let's just be a regular person and go act, pretty much.
Yeah, and you have to be willing to fight for it. It's not just going to come to you. And it's especially because people don't think about it. People that are in the industry right now just don't think about it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Getting all these. All right. Well, Jonathan, those were all the questions that I had for you. Is there anything else on your mind that you would like to say? Or do you feel like we covered a good amount?
I feel like we covered the game. And I'm just going to say that just if you see somebody in a chair, just go up to them, start talking to them. You might be surprised what you find out.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. Once again, you guys, this was Jonathan Buckley. I'll put his Instagram information, YouTube, all his social media information. So go follow him. He's super, super talented. And I know he told me he's going to start making some fun content soon. Right, Jonathan?
Yes. So be looking out for it.
Yes, definitely. All right. Thanks, guys. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for watching.